Hello and welcome, everyone. Let's look at this song of oneness or nothingness or emptiness from the verse The Unending War from the book Footprints on Waters Free. Now, this apparent story in verse is on war. It is where the meats and the greens are on the brink of a war, and the story is based on, but it's simply an apparent story because a story presumes a story. It's not real. It's because a story presumes that there are solid, static individual entities which have characteristics, attributes, attitudes, and it's lives in an apparent timeline, is born, will die, belongs to certain groups, has certain ideologies or whatever experiences. That's simply a presumption because whereas all there is the formlessness energetically appearing as that form. And it is too alive, too immediate to be bound in any story, in any song, in any words. It's simply this, it's formlessness energetically appearing, alive anew, intimate, immediate. However, this formlessness seems to appear as a dream of duality, which is very, you could say, which is only in the apparent human species. It seems to abstract this seeking energy, this formlessness appearing as the seeking energy seems to abstract itself and apparently appears as this dream of duality where there is a seeker or me, you, I, uh, you, me, them, us, they, systems, organizations, and they all seem to be very solid and static in this dream, very real. And this dream of uh, duality has an apparent pattern. It seems to abstract itself to in a million of ways. And this verse highlights and illuminates that apparent pattern of, you could say, seeker. Of course, there's no seeker, but the seeker, the self, the I, the me, the us, the systems, whatever. Because what is the macrocosm is the microcosm. Macrocosm and microcosm are one. So the self, the system, nations, cultures, religions, whatever. There's no hierarchy, but they just seem the universe, the multiverse. It's all that abstraction of the apparent self. So this verse speaks of that abstraction and the apparent pattern that the seeking energy seems to appear as. And then this pattern seems to appear as the stories and yarns and, this tapestry that is apparently weaved where there are nations and there are religions and cultures and groups and whatever, and then they are labeled, and then apparently stories or yarns are one around that labels, like for instance, uh, my god is better than yours or whatever. And this apparent self has that it's always at apparently at war, and it is very addictive, though there are addictions of other addictions as well, alcohol, drugs, or power. But this addiction of the self is the most subtle and can be very subtle in its claims and can be very unrecognized because it seems to appear in a billion of ways. There's no counting actually, it can appear in infinite of ways. And it's too clever, too restless, and it wants to own, it has this ownership, it has this doership. It is like a sticky glue. It wants to constantly stick to everything and own it and claim it. And it is so addictive and it is so subtle that it goes almost unrecognized. So whether they're seeking of money or lovers or power or name and fame or spirituality or becoming holy, it's seeking just the same. Because it's that restlessness, wanting to constantly just get away and be in that abstraction of labels. And in this pattern, then, because this human species, in apparent human species, this seeking energy seems to formulate the nation's cultures, and then as it seems to abstract and apparently create stories, it always is at war. War of me and you, us and them, my culture's better. There seems to be apparent hierarchy. Uh, I'm more educated, I have better uh, resources or holidays or whatever. It goes on and on and on. It almost seems like an unending war. And even if there is no war of me and you, there seems to be apparent peace and there's all tolerance, there is still an apparent war. That's, I wouldn't say within its layer, of course, it seems like that because there's no within and without, but it seems like it's like at war within its layer of guilt and shame and boredom because this self is so restless, this I is so restless, constantly seeking new things, feeling it's missing out. It's, oh, this is missing out. This is restless. The mind is always attracted. Oh, this is new. This new shoe, this new house, this new lover. So it's that constant restlessness. I have to own it. I'm performing this activity. So this verse illuminates this highlights or illuminates that seeking energy, that restlessness of the apparent self, the pattern of the apparent self. Sometimes, apparently, the seeking energy on its own seems to recognize this pattern or seems to want to get rid of this pattern. And it hears this song of oneness or this song of nothingness and emptiness and seems to get attracted, seems to resonate with it. But that seeking energy is apparently playing the same game, or of course it's not the seeking energy, but it's the seeking energy is its formlessness appearing as that, but it's the seeking energy starts playing the same game because now it wants to have that. It wants to be enlightened by that message. It wants to gain it, understand it, perceive it, see it, recognize it, get rid of itself. And then when it hears this message that appears it's just nothingness singing. But when it hears that message, could be in the scriptures, like the Bhagavad Gita says, no one kills and no one dies, or other scriptures which seem to say in other ways, or from apparent um, people are singing this, it seems to want to have that, or it starts apparently parroting it. But when it seems to just repeat or perceive or apparently believe, it seems to create this into an object. It binds this into non-duality. It binds this into Advaita. It binds this into a million and starts labeling them and seems to somehow want to get it or lose it and lose the self. And but this cannot be perceived. This cannot be understood. This cannot be seen. No one is singing this message. No one has written this message. No one has recorded. It's the formlessness that is energetically appearing as the one that's singing, the song, the one that's hearing, the one. It's like the one that's singing the song itself, everything. So how can it be bound? How can it? It's so alive. And this seeking energy appears as everything. So if it appears as war, it also appears as peace. But it's beyond the dream of duality, beyond war, peace, spiritual, unspiritual, holy, unholy, healthy, unhealthy. It's beyond all that, and yet it appears as that. So it is um, almost like saying it's formless, appearing as form, and yet it is formless. There's no way. This cannot be. It's too alive and immediate to be. It's ineffable. But yet it is sung. Why? There is no one to know why. It's simply the formlessness that is energetically appearing as well. So this verse highlights that the pattern of the self and that this song cannot be had. And it's sing just by the formlessness or nothingness and emptiness. The song is nothing. It's sung by nothing and it's heard by nothing. It's anything and everything. Simply too alive to be bound in any theory, in any song, to be understood, to be perceived. We see this ineffable aliveness that is formless. Thank you.